Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to do a little bit of a news update and talk about everything that's currently going on, which is quite a lot. For example, first off, no spoilers, none at all will be tolerated. But some people have an early copy of Marvel Tokon. This is a common thing that happened with a lot of games where the games are sent to stores like GameStop, Walmart, you name it. And then people know a guy who know a guy, and then they get a copy through that guy. From there, they then go and play the game. Some of them it's silent and secret and they tell absolutely no one, but then others stream it to the world, 400 viewers on Twitch, and they do it showing the whole entire game until someone shows up to clap them, mostly a developer. Others also have been posting all over the timeline on Twitter. I don't know about other social media platforms, but beware, for the next couple of days you're going to be seeing a lot of things that's technically a leak, technically a spoiler. None of those things will be posted or talked about here unless it gets some type of official response from the developers or something crazy happen. In Tekken's case, Bandai Namco went on a 2-week long streak even after the game was out, striking things and taking things down in order to protect people from spoilers, because in Mortal Kombat instance, when the same thing happened to that game, people were posting the story all across the internet. This situation led a lot of people to bring up how Sony is trying to force everyone to go all digital. It is a good point, but I still do not agree. Sony is only doing this because they can make more money, and also they can have more of a monopoly on the market. And there will be things that come up that they can use as better evidence to support their argument and make everyone else's argument look more laughable. But moving on, talking about Street Fighter 6, they released a new balance patch finally, and it brings a wave of buffs to the roster, while also nerfing characters like JP, Sagat, Mai, and Blanca. To my understanding, those are characters who basically wreaked havoc for a very long time in the game, and the developers are trying to actually take action against them. But then when you talk about some of the buffs that they're doing, generally when I was scrolling through the patch notes, it was just talking about making things easier, making things more aggressive, offensive, more mix-ups, more mids, more pressure, more range. They just want to give characters more. And there was a couple of instances, like with a character like Jamie, where they were talking about making him feel more special because he has that drink mechanic. The quote that I thought was really interesting, this is pulled from the patch notes, says, "The relative strength of each character has not shifted significantly in recent updates. Due to this, we decided to implement changes specifically to shake things up." In response to that, I've already seen players saying nothing was shaken up, bro, nothing changed, and it's only like a minor update. So we'll see. Truly, it's only a couple of hours at the time of recording this video, so we'll see exactly how this actually impacts tournaments. I know there's a lot of people who were upset that throw loops weren't addressed. I mean, if you watch EWC, you saw what happened there. People were just getting bodied by guessing wrong, and that really, in my opinion, doesn't allow for Street Fighter to express itself to its fullest extent. The game is beautiful, the game looks awesome, but throw loops is just spamming one button over and over and over again. And it's like, what about all the other buttons the developers spent time creating? They're restricting themselves, in my opinion. They also made changes to modern controls, which now let users select which special they want to use instead of using the most powerful one they have at their disposal. But overall, the update seems to be good. It's getting somewhat positive reviews on Steam, with a lot of people celebrating the downfall of characters like Mai. Also with this update, you have the release of Yasmin, who has combo trials, an in-depth character guide, arcade mode story, and then also she has battle tour content in the arcade mode. So there's a lot there to experience with her, and we'll also figure out where she falls in the meta as more time progresses. As for Tekken, the EWC's LCQ has just concluded. I did a video already where I talked about all of the problems that was going on there, and in the comment section of that video, people brought up things that even I forgot, like the music, like the commentary. It was a lot wrong with that, and hopefully they take a look at that and try to make it better in the future. Regardless though, we now have the full list of qualified players for the Esports World Cup. You can pause now and take a look at all the names here, but all of these competitors will go head to head for a total prize pool of $1 million. This will take place on on August the 6th. And then a little bit after that, we have CEO, which is a massive tournament that takes place in Florida. That will happen on August 14th. Expect to see a lot of streamers and content creators there. A lot of people didn't go to EWC so they could go to CEO. So that we're going to get a little bit of a different variety of players there. Look forward to that. Once again, August 14th. And then a little bit after that, you have the release of Season 3 DLC, Third's character, which is Bob. That's August 24th. A really jam-packed week August is going to be. Another thing that I want to highlight, and now this one is focusing on the pro player, the GOAT, the one and only, the Knee. He was recently asked in a King J video, you guys can go and watch that if you would like, but what characters he think is top 4. And his answer, well, really the question was top 5, but he got kind of like sidetracked with the conversation. Sometimes they're just that interesting. But he only gave 4. The first one he said was Yoshimitsu, followed up by Kazuya, Kunimitsu, and then Azazina. Obviously, Yoshimitsu has a lot of dangerous wall mix-ups. There is no surprise there. He was number 1 in Season 1, and a lot of people still say he's very powerful. But then Kazuya is a character that kind of surprised everyone, because if you go backwards, he was considered to be very weak. Now people, even Ni himself, says that Kazuya is stronger than Heihachi. Do you guys disagree or agree with that statement? I have a video in the future that will tackle those 2 characters specifically, but it's just interesting generally how that conversation has changed. And then, of course, Kunimitsu is no surprise there. DLC character, pay to win, very powerful, takes some skill to work. Neutral is very dangerous, but yeah, she cooks. Azazina was an interesting pick. He chose her because she has tricky mix-ups and strong 50-50 pressure. He said that not many people know about the matchup, which means not many people would know about how strong this character is. An example of where I can think the same applies is with Eddie. People don't really think Eddie is like super top tier like that, but he's not really that popular. He's not really that played. People don't really know until you get clapped up by him. But focusing on what Nee said, this information came as a shock to everyone, and it was being highlighted on Twitter. This triggered a response from Nee. It was more so just Nee just being honest. He says, "Let's not do this kind of content next time," referring to the question about top 5 strongest characters in the game. He says, "Honestly, I don't want to answer questions like, who is your top 5 anymore? People can just accept it as one person's opinion. Honestly, there's no need to agree or disagree. It's just an opinion, nothing more." And I agree as well. I think it is kind of time for the player base to move beyond the who's the top 5, who's top 3 questions, because honestly, it's just encouraging controversy. It's just encouraging debates, which there's too much of in Tekken already. Obviously, we all are not going to be able to see eye to eye with everything. We play different characters in different regions at different skill levels, which means we are going to have totally radically, outrageously different matchups that we like and dislike, and we're going to have characters that we think are underrated, carried, broken, and so much more. And arguing over it isn't going to help anything. I think it's okay to talk about balance, but just marching in and saying this is the most powerful characters in the game, everyone agree with me or you're wrong, I think those days are definitely getting beyond us. In this game, everyone is viable, everyone is strong, and players are definitely realizing that. In that same interview, Nee also gave his take on the Season 3 DLC, where he says Kunimitsu is a trash character, Bob and Roger is okay, and Yujiro Hama is good. He considers it the best idea that Tekken has had in a long time. Lastly, I want to highlight that right now, for the first time ever, God of Destruction rank is the most populated rank in Tekken 8. Now, I made many videos talking about rank inflation and talking about what the developers did to basically push the players higher than where they should be, and this applies to all of us. The pro players, they couldn't get past GOD 3 and GOD 4 in Season 2. I wasn't able to get past God of Destruction in Season 2, and then a lot of people who are currently God of Destruction weren't able to get past blue ranks. It's not really worth lecturing each other and calling each other trash and carried, because by the rank standards, we all are. It's just shocking, honestly, how far the developers pushed the rank, because in past games, people used to work hard to acquire ranks. Now, when a new character comes out, like Bob, since I'm GOD 4, he's already going to be God of Destruction. So what is there for me to grind for? A lot of people are feeling that way. And it's another reason players have to not switch to other characters and experiment, because you are already placed very high in the ranks with them. And if you do switch, you're going to have to go up against people who know what they're doing on a character where you know nothing. Speaking of not knowing nothing, Steve, Fox, and Reina, 2 characters who currently right now in the game has the worst win rate in Tekken 8 by a huge margin. One of the most famous Reina players in NA Heavily Achia says in response to that, it's polarizing how Reina is such a strong and viable character, but every statistic shows how much she is struggling. I don't think we'll truly be able to understand what's the difference between Steve Fox and Reina versus like King and Jin, because I know a lot of people were talking about their popularity being very high, but at the start of the game, the same thing is true. The same thing was true for Jin and Victor and King and Kazuya, but their win rates isn't as bad as the other two. Once again, on the topic of Heavily Ochia, a couple of months ago, I asked everyone to support him and help him out because his house burned down. A lot of people supported him and he was able to fully recover. He posted to Twitter and said, "Never made an official thank you post, but I wanted to thank everyone who supported and helped me and my family out. I'm pretty much fully recovered, set up and returned, so happy ending to a nightmare situation. Also, thank you to Moonsod for posting and using this platform." And I would like to say thank you to everyone who helped out Heavily Achia, and thank you to everyone who support my channel. If you enjoy, please consider liking, subscribing, and turning on notifications. But that's it. Bye bye.